Welcome back, and thank you for joining us as we honor those who served on D-Day 70 years ago today. It's amazing. Bill Mount, he enlisted in the Army on his 18th birthday. He says his parents weren't thrilled about it. However, he felt as though he had to dedicate his service, especially after always walking by Army recruitment posters. Mount served in the 82nd Airborne, and Rollin Smith has his story.
William Mount now takes us back to Normandy on D-Day.
That's for the first night that we jumped in total darkness, and we didn't know what to expect.
They just hoped they didn't land in a tree or in water. Bill Mount was lucky. He landed in a field just a few miles outside the French town of Saint-Mère-Église.
The Germans were putting up one hell of a fight for this town.
It was a tough fight, one that took days. But in the end, Saint-Mère-Église was freed.
It was a mission of the 505 to capture this town first. And this was the first town liberated on the continent. So that made us kind of proud.
Bill says his commander, General Gavin, had a lot to do with the 82nd Airborne success.
The more I jumped, the more faith I had with Gavin in front of us that we were safe as long as we knew that, because he never made a mistake.
While Bill put his faith in his commander, another man in his division believed it was something else that helped him get through the war. He told us the story about Chaplain Woods.
He was a man that didn't believe anything could touch him. And he was from the day we jumped on Sicily. Everywhere he'd go, he just walked around and had his little package with him for saying his last rites or anything. And I said, Chaplain Woods, you're going to get it one of these times. Oh, no, my boss will take care of me. And one day I saw him down washing his hands by the side of a creek, and there's firing going on all over the place. And he was a fascinating man. And believe it or not, he made 4 combat jumps and never got a scratch. And, you know, he's a case where the guy upstairs was really watching over him.
Bill has been back to this town a couple of times since the war ended.
Surprisingly, it's a good feeling coming back. And,
how's that?
Well, to remember, and the people that cooperated and helped us a lot. And they were taking a chance because they didn't know whether we were going to win or not. And every time you turn around, the people would come out and help you and warn you.
Would you do it all over again?
Oh, yeah, in a minute. I wouldn't go any other way, except by airborne.
And the people of France are thankful for that, and for men like Bill Mount.
Now to the story of Roland Hartman. Hartman was an engineer in the 1st Division, also known as the Big Red One. On D-Day, he helped design the first escape road off of Omaha Beach. And for hours, that road, it was the only way inland for thousands and thousands of troops. Rollin sits down with him for more.
Sir, on behalf of Charlie Battery 427, it's my great honor and pleasure to present one of the canisters and give it a shot during the 21 gun salute. On behalf of Charlie 427, stationed in Baumholder, Germany, gladly I am proud to present this to you.
Thank you, sir.
55 years ago, Roland Hartman was dodging bullets on the beaches of Normandy. This time, when he was on Omaha Beach, he was handed a shell casing from a 21-gun salute by a soldier who was honored to meet him. Honored was the word many people used to describe how they felt when they met Roland Hartman and the other veterans we took back to Normandy. Listen to Roland's story, and you can understand why. This is Omaha Beach, tranquil, serene, much different than it was 55 years ago. Then the beach was a bloody battleground. Roland Hartman was there. He stormed the shores on D-Day as a member of the 1st Division, the Big Red One. Hartman was not quite 25 years old. He was a sergeant.
The ramp went down, and I chased the guys off, and they ran up the beach. I jumped off the ramp, and I was about waist deep in not too friendly water. Very colorful. And I turned around and saw one of my men standing on the end of the ramp. I thought he was afraid, but he's carrying 21 pounds of TNT, and I motioned for him to come. He stepped on down into the shell hole, and I had to go back and pull him out. And that's one thing we're taught, not to waste time to pick up a wounded or what have you, because you have a job to do, and you don't want to get yourself in the same position. But we made it up to the beach.
Safe, but scared. The scene on the shore is one that Hartman doesn't like to remember.
That's what I try to forget. It wasn't pretty. A lot of bodies were floating in the water. And you think, how can a landing craft get by these people? After all, they're gone, and they're not allowed to pick up anybody that's in the water that is even wounded because of the mission they're on. And you worry about the guys being run over by the landing craft. One thing that you were told when you first come in, or suggested to you when you come into service, don't make close friends. Because if you lose them, it'll get to you. And it's true. It's hard to describe how many people you don't even know who belong to your same outfit that lay there motionless. And you got to think of what you're there for and go at it. That's about all I can say.
Hartman made it off the beach unscathed, but just barely.
Did you get hit the day you were walking up?
No.
No,
Close.
so close?
I had a radio man with me, and I joke a lot. You might know. And his name was Leo Antoine Joseph Deschamps, French, but American. And I told him, stick close to me, because you can speak French and I can't. Maybe we get through this thing. And I just turned around to say something to him when the sniper took a pop shot at me. And the bullet went by me so close, it sounded like somebody shot a firecracker off. And I dropped to the ground. And Deschamps laughed and he said, "You hit the ground so fast, you had to reach up and grab your helmet." And I believe him, because I went down fast.
He says he uses humor to help keep his sanity. You can understand why, listening to some of what he's been through.
I lost men, all 3 invasions. And major events, I lost a couple. And some of them very close to me, the closest I am to you right now, that got hit and I didn't get a scratch.
Do you ever
So-
wonder why, Roland?
It's not for living a clean life, I don't think. You know what, like I said, I'm cracking jokes and what have you, but somebody was watching over me.
We went back to Normandy with Roland Hartman on the anniversary of D-Day. As he sat there in the American Military Cemetery to share his story with us, a crowd gathered, curious to know what it was like that day.
Especially after the beaches were being shelled by our forces. What were you thinking as the boats were moving toward the shore?
Well, I was wondering if we're going to make it, because, like I said, it was my 3rd invasion, and a lot of the boys were seasick, and you worry about them more than you do yourself.
Yes, sir.
And when you get off your landing craft, to make sure your men get in a position where they can do some good, because if you lose a man, you get short-handed, and you don't want to lose anybody. That's one of the first things you think about is, what are you going to do and how are you going to take care of the people that you're responsible for?
Would you do it all over again if that...
If I had to, yes.
Yeah, you would?
Yes, I would.
You wouldn't change a thing?
Not a thing. I might come out different, but if they need it, I'd do it again. In my position here today and talking to the French people, and they show such gratitude, that's the answer. They are poor people. Their homes are destroyed. A lot of people were maimed and killed just to get them free. The ones that are left, get them free. And you see what it means to them. I'd do it again.
Now, up next, we will introduce you to James Ross, another New Jersey native who fought the good fight on D-Day. His story when we return.